and welcome back to another episode of Life Uncut. I'm Laura.
I'm Brittany.
Hi, Brittany. I have a it's not really a bone to pick. I've just realised I fucking hate asymmetrical shirts.
I also hate that term.
A bone to pick.
I hate the bone pick. You know why? Because we pick so many bones.
I got a bone to pick. It's very radio, isn't it? I have a bone to pick with you right now.
Totally. You have, I'm going to describe it. You look great. You pop a colour. You got some blue pants on.
Thank you.
Linen
Thank
pants
you.
that you obviously have never ironed in your entire existence.
No, they're linen pants that I wear at least 3 times a week. Like they're my staples.
Yeah.
I live in them. They came out of a drawer this morning though. We left very early.
You definitely don't iron them. And then you have a shirt on that has, what do you call it? I know it's asymmetrical, but it's like really low one shoulder. It crosses on a diagonal across, like high neck one shoulder, down to the elbow on the other. It looks great if you don't move or breathe.
Except I do move and I do breathe, and several times my entire left titty has fallen out today. And I'm just, you know what, I thought I would try something new, and that's why I only have the same 10 things in my cupboard and I just rotate them. Because anytime I try something new, I wish I hadn't.
Have you ever been to a nudie beach?
I've been, no, not to a specifically nude beach. I don't think so.
What,
like
you've gone to a
at the
closed beach and gotten nude? You're breaking some laws there.
I've gotten naked at a beach, but
Really?
it wasn't a nude beach.
A public closed beach.
Yeah, but I mean, there's lots of beaches around Australia that are quite empty.
What happened?
I got naked, went for a swim, and then got dressed again.
Why though?
But when I was in my 20s, I went through this real phase of like nudie runs. That was my thing, like going for like a nudie swim at twilight. I don't know why. I thought I was cool. And then I realized actually.
Alone, or were you doing this with people?
A bit of both. Skinny dipping.
So, but on your own, like you'd go to a beach and just get nude. Because I have questions. Something is not adding up.
Yeah.
You're a streaker. Streaking.
What am I going to do with my night? Drive down to the national park and streak.
I'm genuinely.
Haven't done it in years.
I'm genuinely. I should hope not. I'm genuinely perplexed. So you would go down to a normal beach alone, get nude, and go swimming.
And go for a swim. If I didn't have my swimmers on me or a towel or whatever, I'd just, go for a naked swim. But only if it was a remote beach. This is weird.
Okay. Yeah, well, you think you know someone. And I have a flasher and a streaker as a co-host.
I think in another life, like maybe when I'm retired and we don't live in the centre of Sydney, I'll become a nudist. I quite love being nude. I'm nude around my own house. I don't often close the blinds. Matt will be like, Laura, I was just on the street and I could see you nude from downstairs. I don't care. I love being naked.
That is me. Oh my God, can I tell you something funny?
No, please don't. Refrain. I don't want to hear it.
I don't even know why I'm going to tell this. Last night, because I walk around nude all the time too, or just in my undies, because my house is pretty private. Like
It's
from the
not.
street. No, from the street, but not from the apartment buildings across the street. Because if you're in a high apartment, you can sort of look in. But from the street, it's pretty good. You'd have to be a peeping Tom.
I used to live in your apartment, Britt, and you think it's private because there's bushes. But if you stand out in the street and look in, like at nighttime, if you've got the lights on inside and you're standing out in the street looking in, you can see everything inside that apartment.
Well, last night I was just in like nude undies. I probably looked nude high-waisted undies and a nude see-through bralette. That was all I was wearing because it was so hot in my apartment. So I was just walking around nude. And then I made a cup of tea and I walked to my back door and I leant against the door. I was having a real moment. If it was on a movie, it would have looked like a great scene. I was leaning against the door and I had one hand, because it's a comfort thing that I do, I pulled the bralette down so my boob
Holding
was out.
your titty.
And I just held my boob while
You're
I was
like,
drinking
just
my tea.
me, my tea and my titty.
So I looked nude, feeling myself up having a tea. And then I looked up and I saw a man in the apartment block across the road staring at me. And I was like, oh my God, he thinks he's getting proper porn. And then I was like, how long has he been watching me? How often does he watch me?
Nah, that's not his fault. If you're going to stand outside completely naked, you can't shame a man for standing there and being like, oh, what's that girl doing?
No, I'm not shaming him at all. I'm not shaming him. But it was the first moment I have ever realized how often I am nude. Sometimes I am completely nude. I have a mirror right where I was standing and I just go and look at myself and I'm like, check myself out. I'm like, what's going on? How
Don't
the girls
close the curtains.
The girl's holding up okay, like gravity's starting to weigh in, but he just completely watched me. I was like, oh my God, it's not his fault at all. Like if I saw somebody that I thought was attractive, would I look away? Yeah, I mean, his responsibility is to probably look away. Like I feel like there's a moral obligation.
As you said that, as you were like, I don't blame him, I was like, I kind of do a bit though.
No.
Like it's definitely inappropriate. But if somebody is going to be naked inside their house and you can see it from the street, You can't be angry at that person from just looking.
But what if it's not the street? What if it's one apartment to the other and you know morally you shouldn't be looking because they're in their house? What do? Do you walk away?
I think this becomes creepier because of the dynamic. You're like, it was an old guy and I'm standing there. But then I think about...
I don't think he was old.
No, okay. Regardless. Let's make him sound creepy. I put myself in that position. If I was in my house and someone in the apartment directly across from us was naked walking around and I could see them, they were just like full blown in their glory with the windows open.
You'd be like, Matt, come look.
I would look. And then I realized that's probably not what I should say, but I think I would just look and be like, haha, that person doesn't realize I can see that they're naked. Idiot.
Yeah, I think that's wrong.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, glad we got to the bottom of that.
Moving along.
Whilst you were naked in your doorway, I had the freaking best weekend ever. And I know that everyone's talking about Taylor Swift at the moment, which will be us next week because we're going this coming weekend.
Oh my God, it is this Sunday. Swizzle.
I'm
this
going
Sunday.
on Friday. But I think there's another band. There's another band that hasn't gotten as much airtime. And let me tell you, it was the fucking best thing I've ever done with my entire life.
Stop breadcrumbing.
I went to the Blink-182 concert on Friday. If you follow along my stories, I literally sounded like a Swiftie. I was so in my element, but it was this moment of just pure fucking nostalgia. When I was 18, 19, 20, I was such an angry, angsty little I don't know, I just finished uni. I had this boyfriend who wore black nail polish all the time and I had a little skinny white belt. I was angry.
I had a skinny belt?
Well, like skinny black jeans, and then everyone wore that what's it called? It's like a white belt, but it's shiny. What's the material I'm thinking of?
Like a metallic
like fake
belt.
leather, but shiny, pleather, whatever, and vinyl. I don't know. Anyway, I had that belt and we were all just emo and angry at the world. And the reason why Friday was so fucking fun is because it almost felt like satire. So it was all these people who, when they were that age,
so everyone's 40 plus now.
we're all grown up. I mean, I'm not quite 40, but we're all grown up. We've got kids. Like we've all in a very different phase of life. And nobody that was there is probably still emo. Everyone was dressed as though they were emo. Everyone was doing like cosplay to their 18-year-old self.
So did you cosplay to go?
No, I looked very un-emo. But there was this one point where, one of the main singers, Tom, he was like, is everyone having a good time? And everyone's in the crowd like, ah! And he's like, fuck that. Be angry. We're emos. He's like, call your dad. Tell your dad it wasn't a phase. And it was so fucking funny because you never think about these people being like self-deprecating. It was almost as though like they know so much that nobody who listens to their music is where they were that long ago. But now they can look back on it and laugh because when they were making that music, they were also kids who were like angry, angsty teens. So and now they're dads. It's fucking good.
So
it was
are they
great.
still are they still actually emo?
Nah, not really. I wouldn't say. One of them definitely not. Travis, I feel like he's always going to be emo because he's covered from tattoos to the eyeballs down.
Yeah.
But like the other one, no. They're just kind of like normal dads who sing angry songs and it's fucking great. But I've not been to a concert where, considering how angry some of the music is, it felt so joyful. It was like this, everyone was screaming and dancing and having so much fun. Everyone was so nice, like so nice. And I screamed and danced.
Emos aren't mean, Laura. Emos are...
But they're sad.
Yeah,
and they hate everything.
They're still nice.
Yeah, but the last time I went to a Blink-182 concert, I was 18 years old. The mosh pit was so crazy. Everyone was like, fucking blah, 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 that I got smashed up against the front of the barricade and I had to get saved by a security guard. This was very different. I was laughing I was laughing and singing so hard. And then at one point I was crying, but then I was also simultaneously crying from my vagina because my pelvic floor is so bad. So it just, everything felt really full circle.
Did
and
you
it was
actually wet yourself?
Several times, yeah. It's, do you know what?
Did you wet yourself from excitement or from like laxicity?
Both. I know I make a lot of jokes about my pelvic floor, but I would say it's actually not that bad. But there's something about the pressure of jumping up and down and simultaneously screaming at the top of your lungs that really just forced any last drops out down my legs and into my boots. So yeah, that was my weekend. It was great.
I can't tell if you're taking the piss.
No.
Pun intended. But I can't tell if you're taking the piss or if you were actually weeing into your shoes.
Weeing into my shoes. I weed into my shoes.
Stop.
Twice. Like running down. It was so euphoric. I pissed into my shoes twice.
Do you know what I'm thinking? It's almost like you did a 2-in-1. You know how you go home and you put your foot in like a foot mask?
Like
Your
a urea. It was a urea foot bath.
Your foot was just bathing in urine for like 3 hours. It was probably so soft and moist when you got home.
You should see my feet now. It's like I've had them done.
It still smells. I can smell it from here because now you've got stinky urine feet.
I feel like we've heard so much about the Taylor Swift content and everyone's talking about like what a euphoric experience it is. And there's something really incredible about being in a room with that many people who deeply love whatever it is that's on stage, right? Like that's the Taylor Swift effect. You know, there's 95,000 people in Melbourne who were all in the one room. Kind of experiencing, because she has expanded across the last 15 years. So there's so much nostalgia in what she does as well. You know, people who have listened to a song from when they were 19, 20 years old to now, and it kind of transports you back. But that's what this was for me. It transported me back so deeply to a time when I was 18, when I would sit in the car with my boyfriend at the time listening to this music. And I put this on my stories, but I just had this real moment where I was like, far out, life has changed so much since then. I'm so proud of where I am now. Like I'm there with my husband who doesn't know a single fucking song.
Who would have known that Blink-182 could incite such passion?
Really, it was transformative. And Matt thought I was a complete weirdo because he had discovered a part of me that he never knew about. He never knew that I was this like deep Blink-182 fan, and neither did you. And look, it took me back.
So was he not in that Blink-182 era?
Yeah, he was. He just didn't care about it as much as I did. There was something about like really hating your parents at the time that just like brought us together.
You know who I want to go and see that have just released a concert? And I feel like, you know how you said, I don't know that about you, Blink-182? Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam are here in town. They're coming and I need to go because Pearl Jam for me sounds like what Blink-182 was for
No,
you.
I'm calling it 2024 is like the year of nostalgia music. And the reason why I say that is because
That's 'cause
Aqua.
we're old.
No, Aqua is here touring. The Goo Goo Dolls are here touring.
Aqua?
Matchbox 20 is here touring.
Wasn't Aqua Barbie Girl?
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. I mean, perfect time for them to come back
Well, I
after the Barbie music,
I don't
right?
think it was coincidental, Laura.
But they are all in Australia at the moment, and it's so weird. 2024, year of nostalgia.
Imagine deciding to go on tour in the middle of Taylor Swift. Why? If Taylor Swift is coming, I would be steering clear if I was an artist. I'd be like, look, every single person in the history of time is going to go to Taylor Swift. I'll wait till she's gone and then I'll come.
No, I feel like at least you kind of like ride on her coattails, because like even where we were, Blink-182 was in the stadium next door. Well, they were in the theater next door to her stadium. So she has like the 95,000 or 100,000 stadium, and their capacity was like 15,000, but they're doing 4 or 5 shows and they've sold out every single show. That's a lot of fucking people who are going to watch Blink-182.
100% that's a lot of people.
Anyways, that was my weekend. It was very exciting.
Sounds like you really went from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, Laura. I went to Laura's house last night.
Oh, shut up.
Well, I think it needs to be spoken about. This is how good of friends we are. You know how you used to base your friendships off if you could go to someone's house, A, without knocking. Like if you had a friend that you knew you could just walk in without knocking. B, a real friend would always walk in and they go straight to the fridge or straight to the pantry. Like, what have you got to eat?
Like a real friend, if you're a real friend, they don't even say hello.
No.
Like you just they're acknowledged that they're in the house, but there's not even like a real hello.
Yeah, like you
It's
come
like you never left.
Like you come downstairs in the morning, I have a bowl of Cheerios. You're like, what are you doing here? Yeah, that kind of friendship. So that's the friendship Laura and I have. But this is like another standard of how you know that you're friends. So I went to Laura's house last night because we're going to watch MAFS and have some Thai and a girls' night and just chill because we don't actually, during the week we try not to speak to each other too much, like as little as possible in terms of like really
Save it
having
all.
those DMs.
Save it all for the podcast.
Save it for the pod. So we're very surface level usually during the week.
There's not much substance to us anyway. So.
Yeah, no, or the best of times. Yeah, we don't no oxygen tank. We don't go deep. We stay on top. So I walked into Laura's house and I just thought I'd walk straight around the back because I could see the back gate open. So down I go, around the corner, straight through the back door, and Matt and Laura are sitting over at their dining room table doing some work or something, having a talk. And I walked in and I was like, hey, what up? And they're like, just barely said anything to me, just like glanced back and looked at me and they're like, hey, looked away. And I was like, oh, okay.
Their energy is low.
Yeah. Went and put my stuff down, my phone and stuff down on the table next to them to say hello. And I was like, something just doesn't feel right. Like there's an energy that's not right. So I was like,
We were back in our emo phase.
yeah, I was like, I'm going to read the room here and back away slowly. So I reversed up, got a drink from the fridge and then just sat on the lounge. And I was like, I'll let them finish whatever they're doing. Well, my God, within 2 minutes, there was, and I'm going to say it, the worst fight I have ever seen you and Matt have. It was an all-out brawl.
That's not even a real fight.
Excuse me? Yeah, they were going. It was like I wasn't there.
You weren't there. It's fine.
No, I was there. They were fighting. You guys were going each other. And we don't have to get into what it was about. It was about Instagram.
We were fighting about Instagram content, guys.
They were actually fighting about an Instagram caption, the wording of a caption.
Because I wanted to change the caption and Matt told me I should have checked the email.
Anyway, what you think could be a light fight turned into a proper fight where I was like, I need to leave the room because it's so uncomfortable. They didn't give a fuck that I was there. Like, it was like I was not there. And I was like, mum and dad are fighting. Mum and dad are getting a divorce.
To be fair, okay, the kids were asleep, firstly. We don't fight in front of the kids, but we do fight in front of Brittany, and that's okay.
So then Laura storms up, like, tells Matt to get
no,
fucked.
Matt, no, that did not happen. Matt told me to get fucked, and then he was like, we need to finish this conversation upstairs.
No, Matt goes like, whatever, biz off, whatever. So Laura comes over to me, sits on the lounge and looks at me, and I was like, it's okay. I was like rubbing her leg in circles, and I was like, it's all right. Look at me. Let's get out of this, and like you and I can talk. And then I saw Matt walking from behind her, and I was like, oh my God, it's not over. Matt brought the argument to me, and I just sat there quietly, didn't want to make eye contact. And then he goes, it's like parents. I felt like I was a kid. He looked at me, then looked at Laura, and he goes, can I have a word with you upstairs, please? And you were like, yes, I think that's a good idea. And I was like, mum and dad are definitely divorcing. Then you guys went up. And I left my phone up there. So I had to go and evacuate. And I was like, I can't even talk to anyone because my phone's over there while you guys are going to each other. And I was like, this is the most awkward moment of my life. 10 minutes later, you come back and you're like, Matt comes over and hugs me. Like, I'm the child that's like letting me know it's okay. He's like, it's okay. We've sorted it. I'm like, I'm okay. You don't need to.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Yeah, he came to see that I was okay. He's like, sorry.
Are you okay?
Sorry that you had to witness that. Well, thanks for asking, Laura. I'm not okay.
Okay, well, you should be okay because mum and dads fight sometimes and that's okay. Everyone fights sometimes. Matt and I had we never fight about important stuff. We fight about literal shit,
Instagram.
Nothingness. We were fighting about work. And at that moment, it was a dumb fight. And then the thing about Matt and I is there's a level of intensity for literally 10 minutes. And then one of us makes the other person laugh and it disarms the whole thing. And then we're like, well, this was stupid. And then Matt goes, yeah, that was stupid. And then I'm like, okay, well, who's going to say sorry first? Normally he caves and says sorry first because I'm stubborn. But that's okay. You need one person in the relationship who's going to take the blame and take the fault. And then we came downstairs and Britt was like, you don't need to pretend like you're good for me because I'm here. And I'm like, no, really, we're fine now.
No,
we got it out of the system. But I think that this is a testament to where you get to in friendships because you would never have a fight like that in front of someone who you're just friends with. You might have a fight like that in front of your sister. You might have a fight like that in front of someone, but like you're so in the inner circle of us that it was as though you weren't there. And we came downstairs and Britt was gone. But actually, you just stood in the backyard.
I'd gone to the furthest part of the back garden that I could, and I'd sunk. You know that Homer Simpson meme where he goes back into the hedge?
Oh, okay.
That's what I done. I morphed back into the hedge, and then Laura came down. She's like, Britt, and she looks at Matt. She's like, good one, she's gone. And I was like,
that did not happen.
I was like, I'm still here.
That did not happen.
I'm in the garden.
No, okay. It's important, guys. Everybody fights. Matt and I fight sometimes, but then it's not about the fighting. It's about the reparation. It's about how you make up. It's about how you say sorry, and it's about how long you hold on to grudges. And there is never a grudge in our household. It lasts for 10 minutes and it is over. It is explosive and it is gone.
Speaking of grudges, did you see Lauren Phillips' ex Valentine's Day
Fucking
post?
good segue. Good segue. I'm glad that we're no longer talking about my relationship, which is also healthy. Don't write about it in the Daily Mail.
No, you guys
we're
are
stable
great.
and great.
But you guys probably, you may or may not know Lauren Phillips. She's like an Australian media personality. She was on radio and
she's still on radio. So she used to be on Kiss Network,
Yeah.
Jace and Lauren, which is the breakfast show in Melbourne. And now they've moved across to Nova. So they're still doing breakfast, but they're just doing breakfast on the Nova Network.
they're just doing it elsewhere. Yeah. She's great.
She's lovely.
Yeah.
And she's recently gotten engaged. She's literally getting married to a bazillionaire who like owns a private jet company. But
That's irrelevant, but yeah.
I mean, it's
lucky for her. Good. Hats off to Lauren. Irrelevant to the story.
Good to know though. Good to have the background information. So something I didn't know until very recently is she was married before. I thought that this was her first marriage, this, extremely wealthy man. But no, she's had a marriage before, obviously separated from her ex-husband, and they were going through divorce processes. Now, Brittany.
So Valentine's Day has just gone, right? It was last week. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I saw a Valentine's Day post from one Lachlan Spark. Now, Lachlan Spark was Lauren Phillips' ex-husband. They were married for 1 year from 2017 to 2018.
But they were together for a bit longer than that.
They
You
were
know, they'd been, yeah.
They were together for 6 years.
Yeah.
Got married in 2017, split in 2018, got divorced in 2021. That's the timeline. Now, this Valentine's Day post that Lachlan posted to his current fiance, he's moved on. Lauren Phillips has moved on to her partner. Lachlan's moved on to his partner.
They're both in new relationships.
They're both in new relationships. The reason it's so gobsmacking and stopped me in my tracks is that the declaration on Valentine's Day from Lachlan to his new partner, Courtney, was literally a screenshot of his divorce certificate from his divorce to Lauren. And he said, "Happy Valentine's Day, Courtney." And I was like, oh my God, the divorce must have just come through. And he is posted to say, you know, like, in some weird way, this is his romantic, like, yeah, I love you, I'm moving on, I'm getting divorced. I thought that was weird anyway. And I was like, okay, you've posted a divorce certificate to wish your current fiance happy Valentine's Day. But then I looked at the details. The certificate was from 2021. I cannot work out what has gone through this man's brain. He has posted on Valentine's Day his divorce certificate to Lauren Phillips from 2021 and said happy Valentine's Day to Courtney.
No, there's more to it. The part that I thought that was so funny, okay, because obviously, like we said, they're both now engaged to new people. And he did text overlay and he wrote, "Bigamy is officially off the cards. Might have been worth checking before getting engaged in hindsight. Happy Valentine's Day at Court's Win," or whatever her Instagram handle is.
I don't understand. I feel like I have to be missing something because it doesn't make sense to me. There's a part of me that's like, okay, I know this divorce certificate says it was finalized in 2021, but it can't be. It had to have come through now. Otherwise, why the fuck is that your love declaration to your new fiance?
I have conflicting feelings about this because part of me sees this, like if you're going to post your divorce certificate and then tag your new fiance, part of me says that this suggests that you're still hung up on your divorce.
Yeah, let go.
That there's still some sort of like petty resentment that's coursing through your veins. That's how I feel about it when I saw it, which obviously my interpretation may not be the case. Also, don't come for me and sue me. But my second part of this is imagine being the fiance. Imagine thinking, what is it about our relationship? What is it about us as a couple that makes you happy or inspired? Or what is the thing that, you want to celebrate about us that's important to you? And the only thing you can think of is how you're no longer in the previous relationship, which is just, it's so undermining and it's actually a little bit humiliating. I would be so embarrassed if I was his current fiance.
It's really shitty. Like, at least do a follow-up story where it's like, also you're the best at Courtney. I recently, when you get into those moods in a relationship where you're a bit needy and you just want love and affection, when you're like, okay, you might not know because you're 6 years deep. I was in one of those moods where I was like, hey, Ben, what's your favorite thing about me? Because I just wanted obviously I was.
Do you want a compliment?
I wanted a compliment. I was
Compliment
hormonal, but also I'm genuinely interested. Like, what parts do you love? And I was just like getting ready for my compliments. We showered. And he had this really long thing. And he said, I know. And I said, what? He said, your smell.
Sorry, what?
I was like, what? He's like, the way you smell. I was like, as in my perfume? He's like, yeah. I'm like, that you bought me? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, babe, I don't think you understand the question.
That's not part of my personality.
I'm like, the question is, what's your favorite thing about me? And he's like, yeah, the way you smell.
He couldn't think of anything else, Britt. But
that was no, he took his time and he could not understand why I was upset by that. He's like, no, but when I smell that, it makes me feel like home because you're my home. And I'm like, I get that. But if that is the thing you like about me the most as a human is the way I smell, it's like you could buy any woman that perfume. Any single woman could put that on.
This is entrapment. Shut up.
It is not entrapment.
It is.
Imagine if you said, what's your favorite thing? And Matt goes, that shirt I bought you.
You set him up to fail.
I laid that on a platter. He
could
have said anything. I did not set him up for fail. I set him up. In fact, I set him up for a home fucking run.
Yeah, but also when he explained to you why, like because you smell like home to him, that still like that was
it's cute.
Yes, it's cute. He's being adorable, and that's still not good enough. That's like you're treading into crazy girlfriend territory.
You know
with that.
why? Because if I spray perfume and then hug Keeshia, is he going to smell Keeshia and be like, home?
She
and
smells like a Doberman.
It's like, exactly. Anyway, I was like, think about it, come back to me.
Can we just go back to this? Can we please just go back to Lauren Phillips and her
we're not
ex-husband
done?
for one? No, I'm not done. I'm not done.
Okay.
Because I do have one thing to say on this. I don't think it is that bad that he's celebrating the fact that he is divorced. I think we talk about divorce in such a taboo way, and I know that it's become way more normalized, but we usually talk about it in terms of it being like a failure. So I guess it's probably weird to us, I'm unpacking this a little bit too seriously, but it's weird to us that he's put up his divorce certificate as though it's something that he's proud of, because that, as the way that society looks at it, is that divorce is a failure. But maybe he actually was like, let's have a fucking party. I'm out of that relationship and I can now marry my now fiance. That was the way he viewed it. That was his intention. But I guess the thing that makes it a little bit more troublesome is the fact that both of these people, he's a producer, he has 12,000 followers, which is not in a huge amount, but it's an amount that means that his post was not going to go unnoticed. And Lauren Phillips is a media personality and she has a huge profile. So I think that that's
Laura,
where...
the problem is not that they have 12,000 followers. The problem is not that they're celebrating divorce. The problem is that he's celebrating his divorce from 2 years ago on Valentine's Day and dedicating it to his new fiance. That's the problem.
Okay, touche. But also I do think we should celebrate divorce more. Divorce parties should be normalized in the same way that weddings are.
Yes. Not on Valentine's Day. Woo! Not to somebody else. It's cooked. I'm sorry, it's cooked.
So last night Britt came over and we were watching Married at First Sight, which is, you know what, this is unusual for Britt because you are not a Married at First Sighter.
I'm not a Married at First Sighter from go to woe. Like I've never sat down and watched an entire series to follow their journeys. I'm a very sporadic tune in when I've heard that something drastic is happening or the media's talking about something or I've got nothing else to do. But I've never been like from the beginning to the end and watched a whole
Yeah, but you're
journey.
the worst kind of person.
Yeah.
You are.
Thanks.
Do you know why?
You're going to tell me.
Because you watch one episode and then you poo-poo everything about it. You're like, oh my God, it's so annoying how they always write stay when they don't love each other. And it's so this and I'm like, of course you would say that because you're not in the trenches with me.
I stand by that. Last night reiterated my thoughts about MAFS and about how it's just, and yes, I don't watch it from the beginning, but the reason it's so unbelievable. So last night, Ellie and Ben, they're a couple that I have, seen again.
Britt is like, they're a couple that I have absolutely no attachment to.
I have zero attachment. Also,
Ellie and Ben couldn't care less, but let's talk about them.
Ellie and Ben. So that was one of the standout ones for me when they're on the lounge. They're talking to John and everyone else about their relationship. And I was just really wanting to root for a couple, okay? And so they get on and Ellie starts talking about how upset she is and how rude Ben is and how he mocked her and he put on a voice to impersonate her, which I detest. Like, that's a deal break for me. If everyone's like, I'm like, fuck you, I'm out. Anyway, so he did that and how rude he was and just how offended she was.
He also said that she wasn't his match.
Can I finish? Yes.
Sorry, yeah.
He also then said,
right, Brittany.
because I'm on my rampage. He also said that she is not his match. So he blatantly said, you're not my match and I want to get out of here. He said, I want to get out of here. You're not it. She said, you're a fuckwit. You treat me like shit. Then they're like, so what's the verdict? And they're like, stay. And I'm like, bullshit. Like, why do you think it's so unbelievable for us as an audience when you two obviously dislike each other? You are putting a square peg in a round hole. And we know MAFS can work. We've seen like Jules Robinson and Cam. Like, we've seen the success couples come out of it. Great. I hope for that. I hope that they all find their happy ever after. But when you sit there and someone has literally said, you're not it for me and I just want to leave, but then push comes to shove and he's like, oh, I don't know why I said that. That was so weird that came out. I'm going to
lose Instagram followers. I should stay.
Totally. That's where I'm like, it's just not believable.
Do you know what? Statistically, though, there have been successful couples that have come out of MAFS. But something that's interesting is that there has never, ever been a successful couple that's come out of MAFS that's had a redemption arc story. So every single couple that's still together now that's come off the back of the series has been great from the get-go.
Yeah.
And I don't mean boring as in like, oh my God, they're so boring. But I mean boring as in there was no drama around their storyline. They just got in, they thought the other one was great. And then they were kind of the narrators around everybody else's drama from each season.
Well, I can tell you, the couple that I'm most invested in this entire series of MAFS is Jack Dunkley and his ex Courtney. So it's not even the relationship that is on the screen. It's the relationship that was happening before MAFS and that is currently playing out in the media right now.
Well, you guys might have seen. So, okay, if you are across Married at First Sight, there's been a little bit of controversy that's been surrounding this guy, Jack Dunkley. He is in a relationship with Tori. They seem, I mean, if you're only just kind of like jumping in and out, they seem from the outset as though they must be a great couple because they're very complimentary to each other. They seem very touchy-feely and lovely. He wrote her the world's most boring poem, which I'm pretty sure he got ChatGPT to do whilst he was at the gym. It's a new ick that's been unlocked for me, and that is sing-song poems.
Can we play that?
Here's the poem.
I love the way you make our bed. I love the way you put a grin on my head. I love it when you cuddle me at night. I love it when you put up a fight, like last night. I love the way you make me feel. This is a crazy experiment, but our connection is real. Most importantly, I love the way we're striving for our happy ever after. And of course, how we share that ridiculous laughter. Don't ever change, my baby. I'm already so very proud of you.
Did you really write this?
I did, babe.
That's really cute.
Okay, yeah. The thing about them though is like, and I don't know, there was a few layers to this last night, which I didn't like because they have not actually been physically intimate in terms of having sex. And he in the past has said that he's like quite a sexual person, that he likes to be physical with his matches or his partners. And so the audience is kind of calling out this mismatch between him saying that he's sexual and now not wanting to have sex with his wife, even though he's saying that he is in this great relationship. Firstly, I found it a little bit odd that it's normalized within the MAFS world to question why someone hasn't chosen yet to be physical. Like as in like it was almost as though they did it in a very sensitive way because I think even they knew that it was a blurred line around the whole consent conversation, but it was looked badly on them that they hadn't fucked yet, which I just think is kind of gross. This pressure that to prove you're in a good relationship, you have to have sex. I was like, wow, that's a really gross message to send.
I agree with that, but what I will say is I think that's because of the fact that it was front loaded by Jack with how much he loves sex and how sexual he is. So I think it would be a different conversation if he hadn't come out of the bat being like, fucking love sex, have it all the time, it's the way I connect. If he hadn't have said that, I don't think it would have been an issue, the fact that he's like, you know, we're just waiting it out. That makes sense. And you're like, okay, I get that. Take your time, connect in whatever way. But when he's like, I love the sex, but not with you.
I agree and I disagree because I do think that there is an undercurrent of expectation that the participants are sexually active with each other. I think there is a pressure because every week there's the question of like, well, have you had sex yet? That has happened on every season with gross. Every couple, and the couples who are sexually intimate are kind of deemed as more successful couples. And I think it is a gross expectation that that's where people would get in this experiment because ultimately they've still only been together for a couple of weeks. Anyway, that's a whole different thing aside. Now, the thing that has popped up in the news a couple of times now is the fact that Jack, he had a girlfriend before going into the show. And the question mark has kind of sat across one, how intense was that relationship? Like how invested were the two of them? The girl that he was in a relationship with has come out. Her name is Courtney. But also like up until what point? So like how soon up until the show was filming was he still in said relationship? Because he has downplayed it on the TV series. He said that yes, he, you know, had a bit of a relationship, but it wasn't anything serious. He's called her crazy and he's tried to minimize what the connection was that the two of them shared. But Courtney has since come out and she has shared photos on her Instagram and she has really kind of rewritten that narrative around I'm not the crazy ex, I'm the jilted ex and I want to get my perspective across.
So Courtney put a couple of pictures on her Instagram. She even actually put one up with like a poll. I shouldn't laugh. I don't mean to be laughing, but
These
is
are
funny.
people's real lives, Brittany. Take it seriously.
I was laughing because she did make a statement basically saying like, I'm not going to give any quotes about it. I don't want to talk about it because I'm hurting. But then she put a photo with a poll. So I did think that was funny. She said, I don't deserve to be portrayed the way I have been. I have every right to defend my character by those who claim to know me. For something so meaningful to be disregarded like nothing, all I can do now is put my armor on and fight a battle I never wanted. Now, I really do feel for her because it's a pretty shitty feeling. It's always a shitty feeling to not be chosen, right? Like even when you're seeing someone and when one person wants to end it, you're always going to feel shitty that you've been rejected, that it's not reciprocal, the feelings. But then for that to be escalated onto a national TV show, which is probably the most watched TV show in Australia, would feel pretty shit. And undermining to know that you had something with someone. She said that they had said they loved each other just a couple of weeks before. She said that she had flown to meet his family interstate. She also said that she had started to sell furniture because they had been talking about moving in together. So I imagine she's very, very hurt. I don't know if I understand why she feels the need to be posting so much about it to defend herself. I don't know what she wants to get from putting it out and airing all of her dirty laundry, but I imagine it's because he has literally on TV called her crazy, you know, which I think is something that all women can connect to in some way. When a man or an ex, like how many times, everyone listening now, how many times have you dated somebody or you've met somebody, could be online, could be new, whatever, and they say, oh, my ex used to be crazy. She was crazy. How many times have you heard that?
I mean, that's like the biggest red flag, isn't it? It's also, it depends on how many crazy exes. Everyone is entitled to have one crazy ex, I think. That's okay.
I don't know if there's like a quota.
Statistically, that's fine. But if the guy you're seeing talks about women as though the exes in his life are crazy and as though they're the problem, there seems to be one common denominator, and it's probably him. And it's probably the fact that he made them crazy. I mean, I don't want to kind of say that, look, people can... No, actually, I will say it. I have said this on the pod before. I absolutely believe that you can be in relationships with people who make you act crazy.
When you're not actually crazy.
When you're not, because they inflame insecurities in you. They inflame all the worst parts because they behave in a way that's not congruent, or they say one thing to you, but they act in a different way. And if all of those indicating factors are true, if Jack did take Courtney to go and meet his family, if he was like, we're going to move in together, I love you, sell your furniture, all that sort of shit. And then he also told her he was breaking up with her because he'd taken a job in the United States, according to her. That stuff would make you be crazy when you find out that it's actually your boyfriend or ex-boyfriend didn't go to the United States. That's not why you broke up. He actually just signed up for Married at First Sight and was on a TV show. But I guess the thing is that it really does kind of hold a mirror up to the fact that often we can be in relationships where we think it's one thing, or we've been led to believe it's one thing, and actually the other person is nowhere near as invested as what we are. Which, when you think about this in this relationship, if looking at both sides of the story, Jack just simply was not as invested as what he maybe had either led her to believe or what she had come to think he was. That's the outcome, right? But the reason why we're talking about this is this has kind of popped up a couple of times in media now. It was exposed before the show had even started airing on TV. So he already had a bit of a villain narrative. But in the last 2 or 3 days, Courtney has shared more photos. And so she shared this one photo of her sitting on Jack's lap where he has his arms wrapped around her.
That's the poll.
That's the one where she was like, does Jack look at Tori the way he looked at me?
Yes, no, maybe.
And then she posted... And then she posted another one, which was them. It looks like they were at the airport potentially. And she was like, this is when we went to Melbourne a week before he left to go and start filming. And he's tying, it's just of her feet actually. And he's tying up her shoelaces, which I guess is trying to show that he was caring towards her, and that they had a level of intimacy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. My big question is, and like you said, Britt, would I go down this path? Like, would I be the jilted ex-lover who wants to expose the type of person that my ex-boyfriend was on TV?
Yes.
Part of me thinks yes. Part of me thinks it's so unfair that when one person has a media profile and they're able to spin a certain narrative around, like this Courtney girl, she has no profile. She has no way of necessarily getting her story out. I mean, obviously she has now. She's gone to media. But when a certain narrative has been spun about you and maybe your friends or your family have heard this version of who you were that seems untrue, there's a part of you that's like, this is unjust and I want to be able to get my word out there and get my story out there. So I think that maybe it's motivated by the fact that he has a public media profile and she doesn't, rather than it being motivated by the fact of her being like, I'm going to destroy him. At the end of the day, who knows what has actually gone down in this relationship? But it does raise a bigger question, and that is when it comes to these reality TV shows like The Bachelor, like Married at First Sight, do the people who enter them need to be completely single? Do they need to be like they've had nothing else on the table for quite a period of time? Or can they be in relationships, or can they be, dating or seeing people, but they're not invested and they're looking for something better than that?
I genuinely think the latter. I think that people can be loosely dating and seeing people are in situationships and then decide to go on a show like this. Can you be in a serious relationship and be in love and then dump them for TV? No, like you fucked hard. No, you can't do that. But think of how many times in my 20s, there were times that I would be dating people casually, knowing 120% that person is not my person. This is not going anywhere. I'm not introducing you to my family, but do I enjoy spending time with you and hanging out or having sex or whatever else? Yeah, like you can be friends with someone and enjoying your time and having sex and doing all the things that a relationship entails without being in a relationship. You can do all that knowing that it's not going anywhere, if that's your choice. Would I ever do that now? Absolutely not. When I got into my 30s, I started dating with a purpose, and my purpose was I want to date to meet somebody and to be with that person.
Yeah, but a lot of people date because they want to date. They want to experience. They don't have the same expectations for an outcome. And I genuinely think that when it comes to dating, depending on the period that you are in life, you should just date for the experience. You should date for getting comfortable, for knowing what you do like, what you don't like, what you want in a person, how you interact with someone, how you fight, how you have conflict resolution, i.e. Matt and I. But I mean, truthfully, I was dating when I signed up for The Bachelor. Like technically
you were married, weren't you?
It was complicated. I just got my divorce certificate. No, I mean, technically I was single, but I was definitely dating. And I guess I think about my experience and I'm like, had stories come out, like if that guy who I was in a relationship with wanted to fuck me over, he could have gone to media and said XYZ, and that would have painted me in a way which wasn't true. It wasn't indicative of what was going on in my life, but he could have done that if he wanted to destroy me, if he was somebody who felt resentful. But luckily we were both very much on the same page around what the relationship was, and I was looking for something better, and I was looking for something more meaningful and something that could lead me to, a potential life partner. Did I expect to find that on The Bachelor? Fuck no. I thought it was going to be a funny experience, but I was still willing and hoping for that opportunity to come along.
When I went on The Bachelor, I was definitely not seeing anyone, but and you know this person, Laura, I had been talking to a person that was Australian but had been overseas for work for quite a while. We had met online and we were vibing. We were like FaceTiming every day. Obviously, I know I have a track record of only talking to people that aren't here, but we were really, really vibing each other, and we FaceTimed twice a day. And that was for like 2 months with all intentions of meeting when he got home, because he was on this overseas trip. He was a pilot. And just before he was coming home, you're looking at me like you're trying to work out who it is.
Who was this? Now I'm thinking, was it Jimmy who was the next Bachelor?
Well, yeah, I was talking to Jimmy too, remember, before he went on. Love you, Holly. No, he's a pilot named, well, I'll tell you later. He's a pilot. And before he was coming home, I got on The Bachelor because obviously I didn't know this guy, but I was enjoying talking to him. And so I had applied for The Bachelor, I got on, and I told him he was coming home the following week. And I was like, hey, I can't meet you anymore. I'm going on The Bachelor. And he was like, oh my God, good luck. He was amazing. He was like, you're going to kill it. You're an amazing person. And I was like, that's the attitude that I need. Now, I'm on no one's side here. One thing I did want to say, because I understand the media can pick something and go hard on it, and then somebody's story is ingrained in you for the rest of existence.
Totally.
I did want to comment on was that the media has really honed in on the fact that when Jack broke up with Courtney, he told her he was going overseas for work. And that has become a part of his story, like, what a liar. You've said you're going to move to a whole nother country, then you pop up on TV. From the outset, it sounds really bad, and it is really bad. But after having been in that exact position, and I know you have a different story, Laura, but when I found out I went on The Bachelor, they tell you, they're so adamant. You sign your life away, you sign paperwork, you cannot tell a soul you're going on, only the people you absolutely have to, which is like your immediate family or an immediate employer or something like that. But you are not allowed to tell anyone you are doing this show, and they scare you to the fact that they're like, if this comes out or if anyone knows, you're cut from the show. So if you're not really well versed in the media landscape or reality TV landscape, which these people that are going into this show aren't, and I wasn't, you take it really seriously. I told everyone but my immediate sort of 5 family members, I told everyone that I was going to Bali for a meditation retreat, and I was gone for 3 months. And like 2 months in, they were all like, is Brittany on one of those silent retreats where you're not even allowed to talk? Because I wasn't posting, but I took that really seriously. But imagine
I
If
think
that
you're
came
giving
out-
him way too much benefit of the doubt. I think
no, I'm just telling you that I feel for that part because that's the excuse he's done. He's been like, I have to go away. He's taken that seriously. Or could he be a wanker? Yeah, I'm sure he is a wanker. But I just want to put that out there so people know what it's like and don't just formulate one opinion on someone.
Yes, I totally agree with this. But I think in those instances, when you're lying to the people in your close network and you're saying, okay, you have to make up a story about where you're going to be to justify the fact that you're going away to film a reality TV show, normally you're telling people whose lives it doesn't actually impact that you're lying. So if you have a girlfriend and you're lying to her about where you're going to, that impacts her life. That is a whole other layer of deception. So I think in those instances, it's either the truth or they're your girlfriend so much that you shouldn't be breaking up with them to go into a reality TV show. I had a similar experience, though, Britt, when I did Bachelor. There was this one guy that I'd been seeing who, like, adore him. He was a great, great guy. And we'd been seeing each other for a really long time, on and off. I always wanted it to go somewhere. Like, I always saw the potential because I'm a real potential person.
You could pick up a turd and be like, this has potential.
Could be a diamond.
It is.
Inside.
If I freeze this up and make it hard and polish it up and give it a paint, that could be a statue.
Literally. So I saw the potential in what we could be. And we were like, we were really good friends as well. And I remember just before going into the show, he was in Sydney. The guy lived in Melbourne at the time. He was in Sydney and I was like, let's go for breakfast. There's something I want to talk to you about. And I told him I was doing The Bachelor because
He's like, I
kind
told you I'm not committing. I don't need to.
Totally. I kind of wanted him to green light it. I wanted him to be like, that's fine. Like, there is nothing here. So, like, you go and do your thing. And
You're like, I don't have to go on.
yes, that's exactly what I
But-
said. And he was way too enthusiastic. He was like, this is a great idea. He's like, you should go. This is amazing. And so then I did go. Obviously, I was like, okay, well, I'm glad he's as enthusiastic about it as what I am. So he greenlit it for me and I went. And then when I'd finished, when I came out, so obviously Matt and I were together. Nobody knew because we had to keep it really quiet and really secretive. When I came out from the show,
He slid back in.
well, no, he was like, hey, let's go get a drink. You know, I've been so looking forward to seeing you. So we did. And because like by then I was like, oh no, but we're friends still. We're still friends. It wasn't a drink. It wasn't a drink in a bad way. Anyway, Matt knew. He didn't, this poor guy didn't know that I was in a relationship. And I came out and he was like, telling you that I wanted you to go was the stupidest thing I've ever done and I want to be with you. And I was like, oh. I was like, well, things ended really well for me. So sorry about that.
Yeah, do with that what you will.
Yeah. Anyway, the end.
I-
Fucking silly boy.
Yeah, Betty's kicking himself now.
I'm sure he doesn't care now. I'm sure he doesn't
Once he
give
sees
a-
those
No.
turds polished in your house.
Do you know what it was? He was the definition of a guy who wants what he can't have. That's all
Yeah.
it was. It was only because the opportunity of us was gone that he was like, oh, maybe I do want that.
It's
So
every
like it
man.
would have turned terrible anyway.
I actually, and just to come full circle, that pilot I actually ended up meeting him twice. Like, so I think 2 years went past and he was like, do you want to finally meet?
Fuck. Sorry, me.
No, we never even ended up making out. He was super good looking, but the chemistry wasn't there in real life. And we ended up meeting up once for a coffee. And it was cool. Like we could have worked on it. Like it wasn't immediate, but it wasn't bad. And then I think there was another year between dates. We went on one more date again. Well, not even a date. We just caught up and I was like, it's not there. But so we did try that relationship. Like it was probably the best one I've had where we met up twice and over 2 years. That was it. But we did try and come full circle for that. I just wanted to add that in with the pilot.
You tried.
Yeah, we tried.
Okay. Well. All right, it is time for Accidentally Unfiltered, your most embarrassing stories. We fucking love them. If you've got something humiliating happening to you or something in the past.
We're sorry, but write in.
No, we're not. We're
Yes,
not
we
because
are.
there's always embarrassing stuff. It's how you react to a moment in life. It's not what happens to you. It's how you react to it. And by reacting to it, I mean send it in to Life Uncut Podcast on Instagram. All right. This one is great. My birthday is Valentine's Day, so my husband got me some presents and we were going to open them up with my 4-year-old and the baby twins. When I got to the second box, I opened it and my daughter went, "Mummy, you got a microphone." And I thought, why would he ever buy me a microphone? I don't sing. I thought it was a microphone as well. realised, well, it was actually a magic wand.
It was a big dildo.
It was a great big black microphone. My daughter was adamant about opening it and then she wanted to try it out. I did hide it instantly, but she proceeded to tell everyone that I got a microphone for my birthday and she wanted to sing into it.
That's the worst too, because you know that she's going to school for show and tell, telling everyone their mum got a big microphone.
Cute and innocent. But also, if you're the husband buying a dildo for your wife, why are you letting her open that in front of the kids?
Totally.
Like, was she opening the present on her own without anyone around, just the kids?
Laura, you realise you're saying this when Lola's favourite toy at the moment is a sex whip.
That's true, but that's different. It's not one we actually use. It was
She
bought as a
runs
prop.
around with a sex whip, calling it like a horse. No, a wand.
She thinks it's a magic wand.
Yeah, it is a magic wand of sorts.
It's a sex whip. It's
Yeah.
like literally like a paddle that you would use on a horse
Yeah, so
to
you-
make it go faster.
Not in a position
It's a
to
riding
judge.
crop. That's what it is.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, there's a sex whip. Lola has a sex whip.
Would be good though. We've never used it, but I
Use
reckon a
it.
little spanking's nice. Sorry.
Okay, sure. Why don't you try that out? Come back on Thursday.
Well, can I have your magic wand?
Okay, this accidentally unfiltered is something that I would do. I just went to text my boss and I realized that 3 months ago when I was doing an F45 challenge that I had sent my boss the results of my body scan. I'm talking my weight, my BMI, my body fat percentage, everything just out of the blue, a random text. The fucking worst part is the body scan was before the challenge started. Actually, fuck my life. I'm dead. I wouldn't even show my partner that shit.
Oh my God, be more like, don't worry about it. Embrace
No,
that.
that is so funny.
But who cares if it's the before or the after? It shouldn't matter. Just don't send your
that
BMI to your boss.
That shouldn't matter. But imagine
No context.
out of the blue, there's no context. You're like, this is my fat percentage. You're like, thanks. Just want you to know I'm working on it. Like, but also the fact that the boss didn't respond. I would have been like, if Keeshia sent me her body fat percent, actually no, I'd probably be like, you go girl. I'd probably be your cheerleader.
To be fair, I sent my labia to my staff and she didn't respond either. So
It's in HR.
yeah. I mean, I understand. Maybe he felt uncomfortable and violated. He was like, I didn't want to know that.
I don't need to know.
I don't need to know that. I do have an update for you though, Britt, on the whole me sending my labia to my staff member. If you didn't listen to, I think it was last Tuesday before, if you didn't listen to that episode, basically
Laura's sexually harassing her staff.
You cannot say that. I was absolutely not sexually harassing my staff.
Well, you unintentionally sent her a picture of your labia. So
Yeah, but like a medical picture, not like a sexy picture.
it doesn't matter.
Different.
It's still,
Different.
It's not a medical, it's just a labia.
Yeah, but like just like a non-styled lighting photo of a labia is different to being like, here's my labia.
It's like screenshots. You know how you have the Measure app in your phone? It's like Laura's done the Measure app for a labia.
Pretty much.
Screenshot it.
I was
That's
like,
the
how many centimeters is too many? No, I'm joking. No, but okay. She has my old work phone. The photos were syncing and she was getting photos of my labia, which was not intentional. I told the story on the podcast. Julia is her name, and I have an update for you. She says, and she swears black and blue, that she did not see it. And she was like,
Lies.
I always thought that you had such high trust in me. She's like, I thought you knew that your photos were syncing, and I always just thought, gosh, Laura has such high trust in me that I'm not going to look. And I was like, it's still weird that you didn't tell me, but anyway, it's fine.
She, bless her cotton socks, she looked. But I love that she's trying to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Like you saying, if you saw someone nude in the apartment next door, you know it's wrong, but you're going to have a little bit.
It's true. It's true. I would look at my neighbour. Okay, anyway, look, suck and sweet. Brittany, what's your suck for the week?
My suck, you're going to say it's against the rules because I've already mentioned it, but my suck is definitely just being spied, feeling my boobs up by my neighbour, being sprung. That's my suck.
Wasn't the fact that your dog almost got killed by a camel?
Oh, yeah, my other dog, yeah. There's camels. I went home to Port Macquarie, where I'm from, on the weekend, and we have camels that like live on the beach, basically. You can do camel rides, and they're the best. Everyone in Port Macquarie knows them. Hey, 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 ride a camel today. That's the song. Anyway, I went back to get Delilah.
Good
She
jingle.
lived with my parents for 2 months while I was gone, and they have 2 other little dogs. They have this tiny little rescue dog called Daisy, who literally weighs 1 kilo. She's like a half sausage dog, half God knows what. She's a scraggly little thing. She's 2 centimeters off the ground, but she is ballsy. She thinks she's like a Great Dane. You know
She's
those
got
dogs?
small dog syndrome. Annoying.
Doesn't bark ever. Not that. So she doesn't
much
try and
confidence.
fight. Just too much confidence. So she's literally the size of a camel's foot. Anyway, she took off and was weaving in and out of these camels. The camels didn't even know she was there. And I was like, this is how she dies. I was like, she's going to be squished to death by a camel. Thank God she wasn't. It was fine. So yeah, sure. Let's make that my suck. My suck was that my dog nearly died by a camel. My sweet was definitely just going back to Port Macquarie for the weekend. I caught up with all my family and some of my really good friends there, and it was just really wholesome. I got Delilah back after 2 months. I was super worried that she was going to hate me and judge me and forget me. But like Ben, she loves my smell. She remembered me straight away. So that was my sweet. I just had a really wholesome weekend.
Very, very cute.
Yeah.
Also, nice that you got to go and spend some family time after being away for so long. And also, I'm glad that you've got Delilah back.
Thank you.
Very good.
That was weird.
Is
that
she
you were
any,
validating my sweet.
Is she any more well behaved?
Oh, no. She's worse.
Worse.
She's gone worse. Yeah. She's gone worse.
Something that you guys don't know is that Britt got asked to go on the reality TV show Dogs
behaving badly. They actually messaged me again yesterday. They're just like following up. Is she still bad? I'm like, yeah.
You're like, yeah, she's fucking terrible.
You know what the problem is though? They really want me to go on this show, and I really want to go on the show because she does have some things that we need to fix. But the things that we need to fix, I can't film them. So the show's like, can you please send us the footage of the problem? And I'm like, I can't. Because her biggest problem is her resource guarding. If another dog comes close to me or her ball, she will go them.
And you're like, I'm not going to film that. I'm going to go and stop the fight from happening.
I was like, sorry. And she doesn't go them as in, she doesn't actually physically hurt them, but it's aggressive, like, "Rawr!" Like if she was talking, she'd be like, back the fuck off. That's what she'd be saying.
Yeah.
You know,
and
we're
you
gonna
can't
fight.
you can't be that dog parent in the park who's just filming their dog
doesn't
doing
stop.
it. Doesn't stop it.
Yeah, you're doing great, sweetie. Exactly.
Instagram.
So I don't think I can get her on the show because I can't ever capture the moment. But I said to them, look, I could recreate this moment in a heartbeat, but I can't film it. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's no one needed to know about Delilah's reality TV career. What's your suck?
Taken after mummy. All right, my suck for the week is... Do you know what? I didn't really have a suck. I can say it was the fight with Matt, but truly it wasn't. Fights are fine. I'm going to stand by this. Fighting is healthy. It all comes down to how you make up. It's very important.
Maybe that was my suck. You're fine.
Your my fight could be your suck. No, my suck for the week, it was just such a good week. So I really don't want to labor in like the little bits that didn't make me happy.
It's the whole point
because
of this.
I'm going to say then my fight, but it just wasn't even...
Okay.
Some might say it might have been the urine in my boots, but that, once again, that was pure fucking the unfiltered joy.
Okay.
I have had so many sweets this week, and I know that goes against the rules, but just this entire weekend was one sweet after the other. I had Sunday was one of the best days I've had in ages, where Matt and we got to take the kids to the beach. Then we had fish and chips for lunch down the beach, and then we played with them in the backyard. And it was just like a very family orientated day that was wonderful. Like we both kind of at the end of the day were like, oh, we feel like we're on holidays, even though we were just dicking around in our own backyard. And it was so much fun. And I know that sometimes when work gets really crazy and life and everything just kind of is in the chaos, and you're in that sort of like from one thing to another, you don't really get time to plug in to your kids and plug into your family and spend those really quality time moments together. And for me, that was this weekend. It was amazing. Also Blink-182, pissing in my own shoes, pure joy.
It's hard to choose.
Pure joy.
Really hard to choose for
And
you.
then Saturday, I spent Saturday making...
Okay, it's one thing. We don't need a rundown of the weekend.
Making friendship bracelets with my kids.
Did you make me one?
Not yet, but we will.
Okay. Guys, that's it from us.
Pretty big titty.
Okay, that's it.
Do you want that? What do you want on your friendship bracelet?
Pretty big titty. That's great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Big titty
if,
Brie.
if that's what I am to you. That's it, guys. Please, if you have any Accidentally Unfiltered, write into Life Uncut Podcast on Instagram. Just in the DMs, just put Accidentally Unfiltered. If you have Ask Uncuts, if there's anything you want to tell us or have us know, that's the place to find us. We also have a discussion group on Facebook that is off its tits. Like it is the funnest, coolest place. That's Life Uncut discussion group.
And also, just go and hit follow. If you listen to the podcast, if you have to look us up every week, go wherever you listen to the pod, hit follow, and it will drop into your library every single time we bring out a new episode. And that's it from us, guys. You know the drill.
Don't forget, tell your mum, tell your dad, tell your dog, tell your friends, and share the love because
We love love!